everyone, this is Gail, and I'm going to actually do something that's not part of a bloom box. I am going to jump out on my own, and who knows what will happen. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start with some bubblegum cardstock, and this is cut and trimmed to a A2 size card. I need a sheet of vellum. I need some silks. And my butterfly, the bloom box butterfly, the bold wings stamp, which is already mounted on my block. And I'm going to do something I've never done before. So let me get something else while I'm thinking about it. I am going to emboss, or not emboss, I'm going to heat emboss on vellum. And I have never done that before, but I'm going to take our clear pigment ink and ink up my butterfly. And I just thought about something. I can't get to it now. I'll just use this. I want to put some non-static powder on my vellum. Then I'm going to stamp my butterfly, and I believe I'm going to do the whole image. So I'm going to try to get it on there as centered as I can, since vellum is clear and I have a hard time seeing that, and I will clean that off in a little while. And I am going to sit this into my tray, and I'm going to put white embossing powder on here. Now, I've never embossed on vellum before, so this is going to be an experience for me. Leave that open so I can make sure this gets covered well, and then tap it off in here. And then I will put this down back into my jar so I don't lose any embossing powder. And then let me heat emboss this. Now, I don't have the Fun Stampers Journey embossing machine yet, heat tool, so I am just going to be using this one, which I've had for years, and it does work pretty well. And I'm just going to heat it, let it heat up. And then I'm going to let this emboss. I never thought about embossing on vellum. I guess I thought vellum would melt under the heat. But I saw Richard do something the other day with another stamp, and it just turned out gorgeous, and all I could think of is how pretty it would be with this butterfly. And I do believe that's embossed all the way. Let me just give it a try a little once over to make sure. Now see that? Isn't that pretty? I'm going to let this dry. Doesn't take long. I don't want to touch it till I'm sure it's dry, till it cools off. It's cool. And I'm going to turn it over. And this is where we're going to play. I am going to use my silks, And it doesn't matter whether you mix up the sparkles or not, because we're not going to be using the sparkles. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start dabbing. You're probably going to think I'm the worst colorer in the world. But that's going to be part of the fun of what this will be when we're finished. Now, what some of this is the the cranberry bliss. So I wanted more of the pinky color in here, but I'm also going to use some of the citrus cooler. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to dab it on. Our silks, usually we splatter with our silks, but this time I'm actually coloring with the silks. Try not to go out of the lines, and you'll see why in a little while, when hopefully this turns out well. Okay, and I think I want to put some, let's see, what other colors do I have? I have some sour lemon. Yellow ought to look good in here. I'm just going to try to paint around the areas where I haven't painted, which looks like it's around the edges mainly, but that'll give it a good effect. And like I said, I know you think I'm the worst colorer ever. But wait till you see how this turns out. You're going to be amazed. Let me put some of this yellow inside. And let's see, what other colors can I play with? I've got some electric lime. That ought to be pretty. Okay, it is going on there. I couldn't see it. There we go. I guess it's because it's not quite as fully pigmented as the other is. Don't want to contaminate the bottle by getting these other colors in there. Actually, I do have a baby white. Maybe I'll use that. And I know you're going to think this won't go with it, but I have some dark roast, which is a dark color, but I feel like we need a little bit of a dark color. And any little splotches that I see that don't have color on them, I'm just going to dab with the dark roast. Now we need to let this dry. And for the sake of time, I'm going to use my heat gun again, just to help this dry. because we can't do our magic until this is dry. I think the dark roast is the only thing that hasn't dried. And now let's see what happens. Let's turn it back over and look at that. Is that not gorgeous? All those colors come through, and you can see it through the vellum on the white, with the white embossing powder. And let me see how, I wanted to see how this looked on the pink. I think it looks fine. I probably should have allowed a little more room, because I did want to stamp with the black licorice. I wanted to stamp thank you on here. I think I have room right there on the corner. And it may have grabbed just a little piece of the butterfly. No, it worked out fine. And that's why I had the baby wipe, so I could rinse off, wash off my stamp until I can clean it with my stamp cleaner. But I am just really learning so much from the Fun Stampers Journey people and from Richard. There's all kinds of videos that, well, some videos he shares with the public, so be sure and look up Fun Stampers Journey on YouTube, or Richard Garay, which is Richardgaray. And he's always demonstrating some of the most wonderful techniques that I would never have dreamed of doing. He's got such an imagination. So what I'm going to do is, I believe I'm going to use some glue dots because they're tiny and they're clear. And just put them down here on the corners. To hold the vellum. And I'm going to just use that to stick this on my card. And this is the same size as the card front, so I just line it up with the card. And then press the little glue dots. Isn't that beautiful? Of course, I got ink all over me. What do I do with my baby wipe? It's just as dirty as my fingers. I don't know if I'll be able to clean my fingers off or not. But then you can embellish this card any way that you like. I have some of the bubblegum checks satin ribbon that I thought I would tie a bow with. I don't think I'll go all the way around. Or maybe I'll well, let me see, because I've got thank you down there. I think I'll just tie a bow. And I'll just do a double loop bow. because that's easier for me when I don't have a knot to work with. And just play with it until you get your bow the way you want it. Okay, and I'm just going to fold it and do a little V cut. And fold it. And do a little V cut. And I've got some of the black journey twine out here, and I've already cut some twine. I think I'll just do a couple of loops of the black twine to kind of bring in the black from the sentiment. I think that's all I need. And I'm going to use our glue runner. And I'll fix the loops going up that way. Put another layer over top. And stick my bow on there. And I've got a beautiful thank you card. Isn't that pretty? I just love this technique with the vellum and the silks. That is just gorgeous. So you can put your sentiment inside, but there's my first card on my own design. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you like it. I could even, well, I got some ink off my fingers. I don't know if I have a clean spot on this or not to get it off. But we've also got these candy minis. As you can see, I haven't opened them yet. But I think I'll stick a couple of those on. Normally I would put sequins. But I think I'm going to use these little dots. They're like enamel dots. And I think I'm going to put some purple. I think I'll use this size. And it's stuck to my fingernail. I think I'll use a purple. And I'll use a little bit bigger green, electric green, since we used one of that. Some of that in the design. I like to do 3. I could just put a little pink. Let me do a tiny pink. Pink on pink looks good. So there. So now I've added a little color. So again, this is using the white embossing powder, our inks on the back, and then just decorating it however you like. So thanks very much for watching. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.